I'm going to get to see the chat. It's firearms rights, guns rights, whatever you want to call it. In regard to felons, this is going to be applicable across most states, but I'm going to be focusing particularly on New Hampshire and the civil rights restoration laws in New Hampshire and how they interact with the federal laws, and who is and who isn't a felon, because people throw this word felon around pretty liberally. And the interesting fact is that the federal code does not define felon. Neither does the New Hampshire statutes define felon. I'm sure it's the same thing in every other state. There's no definition of felon. So in order to figure out who may or may not be a felon, you have to interpret the law to your particular situation. And so there's links in the description, and there's a decent description there as well if you want to check that out. But I have an affidavit that I wrote and filed recently. We'll get into that after this law review that I wrote that breaks it all down. Many of you may know that I was in prison, and I am formally a convicted person, felon, but I've had my civil rights restored. Therefore, I get my right to bear arms automatically by this state statute that we're going to get into here. So this law review that I wrote is an extremely nuanced and complex issue regarding who may or may not be considered a felon in New Hampshire. An important point to drill down on is the fact that the term felon is not explicitly defined in either the federal code or the New Hampshire statutes. Absolutely no one that I've spoken to is aware of this. Not cops, not lawyers, not even state legislators or the AG. I've actually testified before the Criminal Justice Committee about this, and they said that they needed the AG, John Formella, to respond with his analysis. That was over a year ago. That video should be linked in the description, and you can see my testimony there. My analysis is that this issue is made intentionally confusing and nuanced in order to confuse the average person so that you don't know what your rights are and when you get them back. There was even a bill that was proposed by Jason Gerhard to clarify New Hampshire RSA 607A, specifically to define felon, which must be presently defined via a crystal ball. You literally have to infer who is or isn't a felon from this nebulous network of state and federal laws. So this is going to apply in some way in every state. It's going to be different in every state, but it's going to apply in a similar fashion. So who is a felon in New Hampshire? Understanding federal and state nuances. Here's the introduction. The legal designation of felon carries significant consequences, impacting civil rights such as voting, holding public office, and possessing firearms. In both federal and New Hampshire state law, the definition and implications of being classified as a felon are nuanced and often interdependent. This article explores these nuances, focusing on how federal statutes and New Hampshire statutes determine who is considered a felon and the impact of civil rights restoration on this status. Federal law, defining and identifying felons. Felony definition. Felony definition, not felon definition. Under federal law, a felony is defined primarily by the severity of the sentence imposed. According to 18 U.S.C. Section 3559, offenses punishable by more than 1 year of imprisonment are classified as felonies. This classification is crucial as it directly influences whether an individual is considered a felon. Felon status. The term felon is not explicitly defined in the U.S. Code, but 18 U.S.C. Section 922G plays a critical role in identifying felons, particularly regarding firearm possession. This statute prohibits individuals convicted of crimes punishable by more than 1 year of imprisonment from possessing firearms. However, there is a significant exception. If an individual's civil rights have been restored by the state in which the conviction occurred, and there is no explicit prohibition on firearms possession, the federal prohibition does not apply. This exception is articulated in 18 U.S.C. 921A20, which emphasizes the importance of state-level civil rights restoration in determining federal felon status. Okay, so that part is applicable across all the states. Okay, 922G and 921A20. Restoration of rights. The interplay between federal and state law becomes evident in the context of civil rights restoration. According to 18 U.S.C. 921A20, a person's civil rights are restored by the state. The federal firearm prohibition, if a person's civil rights are restored by the state, the federal firearms prohibition under 18 U.S.C. 922G does not apply unless the restoration explicitly restricts firearms possession. This provision underscores the deference given to state determinations regarding the restoration of civil rights. New Hampshire law, defining and restoring rights. Felony definition. In New Hampshire, the definition of a felon is similarly based on the severity of the crime. The New Hampshire RSA 625:9 classifies offenses and includes felonies as those punishable by more than 1 year of imprisonment. The statutory definition aligns with the federal understanding of a felony. It's the same thing. Restoration of rights. New Hampshire law provides a structured approach to the restoration of civil rights. New Hampshire RSA 607A outlines the automatic restoration of civil rights upon the completion of a sentence. Now let me reiterate that and repeat that. New Hampshire RSA 607A outlines the automatic restoration of civil rights upon completion of sentence. New Hampshire RSA 607A5 explicitly states that upon discharge, an individual suffers no other disability by virtue of their conviction except as otherwise provided by this chapter. This provision implies that civil rights, including the right to vote and hold public office, are restored automatically once the sentence is completed. Importantly, New Hampshire does not explicitly prohibit firearm possession upon the restoration of civil rights, which is a critical factor in determining whether an individual is considered a felon under federal law. That's right, smash that like. What's up, Maine? So, the annulment of criminal records. Don't get it confused, people. Annulment, if granted, it legally declares that the arrest, conviction, and any proceedings in the case are treated as if they never occurred. This can enhance employment opportunities and other aspects of life by clearing your record, which means it's unrelated and unconnected to your rights restoration. This is for jobs prospect, things getting wiped off computers and things like that, right? The annulment has nothing to do with your civil rights restoration and 2A firearms rights, right? So, rights restoration. While annulment removes the record, rights restoration under New Hampshire RSA 607A primarily restores specific civil rights without erasing the conviction from the record. So you get your rights back, but you still have the charge on your record. Doesn't really matter, you still have your rights. The Supremacy Clause and its implications. Supremacy Clause overview. The Supremacy Clause found in Article 6, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution establishes that federal law takes precedence over state laws and constitutions when there is a conflict. So this principle ensures that federal statutes and treaties are the supreme law of the land, overriding conflicting state provisions. The impact on felon status. The Supremacy Clause plays a crucial role in the context of felon status and the restoration of civil rights. Here's how it influences the interplay between federal and New Hampshire laws. Federal firearms prohibitions. 922G establishes federal prohibitions on possession for individuals convicted of felonies. If there is a conflict between this federal provision and state law, the federal law prevails. However, 921A20 defers to state restoration of civil rights unless the state explicitly restricts firearms possession, thus aligning with the state provisions unless explicitly contradictory. 3. Annulment and federal recognition. The annulment of criminal records under 651.5 also impacts federal recognition. While annulment can clear an individual's record at the state level, federal law might still consider the original conviction if the annulment does not explicitly address federal legal consequences. The Supremacy Clause ensures that federal prohibitions and regulations continue to apply unless state actions meet the specific criteria set by federal law. The practical implications. The Supremacy Clause ensures that while states have the authority to restore civil rights and annul criminal records, these actions must align with federal statutes. If New Hampshire restores an individual's civil rights and does not explicitly prohibit firearm possession, federal law recognizes this restoration, avoiding direct conflict. However, if federal law imposes specific prohibitions, these take precedence over state actions, such as the exception. So, administrative records and enforcement. Both federal and state systems maintain comprehensive records of felony convictions. These records are essential for enforcing the laws regarding firearm possession, voting rights, and other civil rights. The classification of an individual as a felon typically hinges on these records and the legal consequences outlined in the statutes. And then I have some case law here. I'm not going to get into that. It's linked in the description, right? I'll get to the conclusion. And the conclusion, determining who is considered a felon involves a nuanced understanding of both New Hampshire federal and New Hampshire state laws. At the federal level, a felony conviction typically designates an individual as a felon, particularly regarding firearms possession. However, if a state restores an individual's civil rights without explicitly prohibiting firearm possession, federal law recognizes this restoration, and the individual may not be considered a felon for federal purposes. In New Hampshire, the automatic restoration of civil rights upon completion of sentence significantly impact whether an individual is considered regarded as a felon. 607A ensures that civil rights are restored without additional procedural barriers, aligning with federal provisions that defer to state-level determinations. Furthermore, the annulment of criminal records under RSA 651.5 provides a separate avenue for individuals to clear their records and enhance their reintegration to society. The Supremacy Clause ensures that federal law takes precedence over state laws when there is a conflict. However, federal statutes often recognize state restoration of rights unless there is an explicit prohibition allowing state actions to influence federal legal consequences. Ultimately, understanding who is considered a felon requires examining the intersection of felony convictions, statutory definitions, restoration of rights, judicial interpretations, and the implications of the Supremacy Clause. This comprehensive approach ensures clarity, and consistency in applying the law, upholding the principles of justice and fairness. So there is that, and that's my own novel legal argument that has never been argued before. The courts seem to be ignorant of it. The AG seems to be ignorant of it. There's no case law about it. And if you have seen the machine gun shoot, go back and see the machine gun shoot. I just did a machine gun shoot at a GOP event, and, you know, I had to sign an affidavit saying that I was not a prohibited person, which obviously I'm not. I even have an affidavit that we get into for anyone who wants to stick around. It's also linked below, but this is the affidavit, which basically reiterates what we just went over in another fashion. And so I shot 4 machine guns the other day in that video, which, if I'm considered a felon, I should be getting 4 indictments in that matter. 4 felony indictments. Nothing yet. How long has it been since I posted that video? I was shooting along with Kelly Ayotte, one of the former AGs, head prosecutors. So obviously, I think I know what I'm talking about. And the AG has never responded to my testimony. We've hit him up with follow-up emails asking for a response. We've gotten no response. So obviously I'm right in my estimation here. So people across New Hampshire should be happy, especially if you're a former felon or you have a felony on your record that you've not yet annulled or haven't taken the time to annul. I have felonies on my record still. I'm within the time to annul them if I want, but why should I have to pay for that to get these things off my record if I don't need to, right? It's not going to affect my job prospects in any way. So, you can't license a right, and they can't make me pay to get my right to bear arms back. I hope you guys found this helpful. Let me know if you want me to read this. Let me say what's up to everybody. Mountain Girl, what's up? Northwoods Press. Who's that? Anthony Tuttle. What's going on? Keeping the swine in line. What's up? What's up? Buzz. Looks like that might be a troll. I'm not sure. So, I'll keep you guys updated. If I get arrested, I'll bail out. You know, they're not going to be able to keep me in jail forever. I'll go from there. I'm willing to defend myself in court. And, you know, obviously I'll record all that. And I'm trying to make case law here, right? Obviously, you guys know how I roll. I like to make case law. I like novel arguments. And that's what I do. You know what I mean? Jack off, what's up? You're not a troll. I don't think so. No, I was talking about this guy Buzz up here. I don't know what was up with the emojis. He had some weird emojis. Kerry Schwiddy. Thank you. So, if you guys got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But, so before I went to that machine gun shoot, we'll get this all on record. So, I've had this argument ready to go. I actually already did 5 years for felon in possession, 6 years, sorry, for felon in possession of a firearm here in New Hampshire, right? And when I was in jail awaiting trial for that, New Hampshire 607A. And so I brought that to my 2 attorneys, public defenders. And they were like, we can't argue this. We're just going to attack the guy's credibility and all this stuff. So I'm like, what the fuck? I was not as seasoned as I am now. And I'm going to end up getting my other case flipped off of this. I could totally take that back and flip that case. But more importantly is that people need to understand what their rights are and know what their rights are in order to assert them the way that I have here. And so I created a draft and an affidavit I went and I got it notarized. You can see it. Got it notarized, and then I paid. I went to the bank to get it notarized. Got 9 copies, and then I paid for this gold seal to have it certified. And then I filed a copy with the Secretary of State. I filed a copy with AG. Okay, and this really gets into it a little bit deeper. On this issue here. Fuck around and find out. That's right. You know what I mean? If you don't know your rights, you don't have any. So it's kind of like how I do the filming in court thing. People have said that, oh, they let you get away with it because, you know, you're you and you know what your rights are. And I agree. Other people could do it if they knew how to assert their rights like I do. And you got to know what they are first before you can assert them in that fashion, right? So it's possible that they don't do anything and they just let me do my thing. They let me pack a pistol, they let me open carry a rifle and all that, right? So that might be the case. And they might not try to charge me because I'm right, because they know they can't, and they know it's a waste effort. Right? They're not going to try to give me the free publicity and the propaganda value of it, because it is all propaganda, right? They don't want people to see how it's done. I do want them to arrest me again, as I usually do, because I want to make case law. Speaking of case law, I'll give a little update on the federal court filming thing. So we filed for an extension. The extension was granted until the 16th. So we're going to file our motion, or our appeals in that case, and a memorandum of law. It's coming out really good. I've been putting in a ton of work on this thing. I mean, I'll definitely link it for everybody to check out. And again, we have that novel jurisdiction argument that's never been argued in the federal courts before. So this is going to be, I mean, that case could blow, it could really create a lot of problems for the federal government. But as you know, that's what we're supposed to do, right? Create problems for the federal government. We need to get rid of the federal government. And that's why, hopefully most of you know, I am running for governor. Please go like and share on my governor pages, Frank N. Staples on Twitter, Frank Niga Staples for governor, Frank Niga Staples for governor on Twitter and Facebook. You know, I shit going on out there. I've been going to all these GOP events. I'm on the ballot for September 10th. And, you know, I'm going to be running a write-in campaign as well. If I lose the primary, I know I'm going to be getting a bunch of votes. People told me they were writing me in last year. I got signs. I got the signs. Oh yeah, you guys might recognize these. Oh. These are my governor signs. Oh, I gotta put them in the back. These are the governor signs. Oh. Can you see them? They're kind of like the FAFO signs, but they're the same fonts and everything. So I'm staying true to form. We got signs going up everywhere. We got signs being stolen already. You know, it's pretty sad, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna make an impact. We're gonna change the conversation. Check out my website too. Let me see if I can type it in there. I can't type it in there. It's Frank N as in Nancy Staples.org. Boom. I'm gonna be putting all my policies up there. I got some crazy policies. People are like, I've been told these policies are gonna get me killed. These policies could get you killed. They said, well, there are people already have these policies. If I get killed, other people will take off with them. I am 100% confident in that. So we're not worried about ideas being killed. That's not going to happen, right? So, see? Oh, that's what's up. We're about Tilton area, Tilton Northfield. Somebody stole my signs in Tilton Northfield. So I'm working on getting some further up north. I'm going out to Keene area tomorrow. Gonna drop off a bunch of signs out there. So yeah, I mean, I've been literally going nonstop, working. If I'm not working, I'm working on the website, I'm working on my policies, and going to these events. You know, I got to pay to get into these events. I'm using all my own money. I do have a WinRed account. I'm approved. I got the business EIN. I got the bank account and all that stuff. People were like, we want to donate you money. People told me, set everything up so we could donate money. So I did it. People said, you got to make a website and put all your policies. I got the website. I got the policies. Are not on the website, but I do got the policies. So, yep. Boom, boom, boom. What is this guy saying? Bro, my father shot himself in the head. Joshua C. He committed suicide back in, I think, 2007. So, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Get Zelle. I have the Citizens. They got Zelle set up. The business account is set up through Citizens. You can email me, Frank at franknstaples.org. Go to franknstaples.org. Check out the website. Go to the Facebook and check me out on X. I'm more active on X, but I bounce back and forth. My phone number. Hit me up if you're local. You need a sign. You want some business cards to pass out. Definitely hit me up. And you know, obviously, tell everybody. Tell your friends. You don't have to pick between two poisons right now, right? You don't have to pick between two poisons, Kelly Ayotte, Chuck Morse, and then the other choices that there are, right? So, you know, what is a criminal? Acts B 1503. What is a criminal? Right? Are you a criminal forever because you've committed a crime and that never goes away? Is criminal a legally defined term? No, it's not. It's a colloquial term. So, I'm about the law and applying the law effectively. I have a track record. Come on now. Come on now. Don't be using typical dictionary definitions when you come at me, right? We're talking legal stuff. We're talking novel arguments. We're talking SCOTUS. We're talking cases being dropped. We keep going in and out. So it's about a half hour here. I'm going to end it. You guys check the links in the description. I appreciate your support. Share this video around. If you're in New Hampshire especially, tell all your friends, vote for me in the primary, and write me in. If I don't, I actually do have a chance of winning the primary. But I'm prepared to run a write-in campaign if necessary, because I can pull from the left and the right a lot. Because we got tons of libertarians and independents here. Let's get it. Come on, I've been thinking about this. I've been running the numbers. I'm gonna do an investigation into the YDC situation, right? That's really why I started running. All these other policies, they're corollary policies. I'm gonna be doing a full, open, transparent investigation. I got that policy. It's already done. You know, I just got to do the formatting to make it look good for the website. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your support again. Take it easy. Be back soon with an update.